Hi, welcome back. Today I am talking about how do I know if I'm actually eating healthy? So, I talk to a lot of people. Talk to them in my professional life, in my personal life, friends, family, clients, patients, former patients. And most most of the time when eating healthy comes up, and it usually comes up in my personal life when I talk about what I eat, what my husband eats, what he needs to eat mainly, and how I cook for us as a family. And it leads into why do we do that? And for us, it's because that's the healthiest way for him. I cook mainly for him. I'm not going to make two different meals. It's just two of us. So I cook what he can have. And so what we eat is what is healthy for him. And healthy is a relative term. Some people think keto diet is healthy, and some people think that everybody needs to go gluten free and low carb, high fat, low fat, low sugar, high protein, Atkins diet, low calorie intake. And really, it's it's all relative. It's what is the goal for you. And so for my family, for my husband and me, eating gluten free because he has celiac disease, eating high fat because he has some side effects from the celiac disease that affects brain fog and memory and other things, like that. He doesn't tolerate nightshades well. So, tomatoes, eggplant, all forms of peppers, bell peppers, chili peppers, and all of their derivatives, chili powder, paprika, capsaicin, cayenne, doesn't tolerate them. Potato, white potato. And that one he really doesn't tolerate. So, potato starches, white potatoes, French fries, things like that. Um, and so we need to eat for supporting his immune system, make sure that he's not all inflamed. Because, as I've talked about before, if you're allergic to something, you need to avoid that. So, that would be a healthier way of eating for somebody who's allergic to gluten or wheat, or has celiac disease, or has a sensitivity to it. Eating gluten free is really important because if they don't eat gluten free, their whole body is inflamed. So, same thing goes if somebody's lactose intolerant or allergic to dairy. Those people would need to eat dairy free or lactose free, because otherwise their body's going to be having an allergic reaction and be inflamed all of the time. And so that's going to lead to other problems: sleeping poorly, no energy, uh, brain fog, lots of different symptoms, in addition to gut GI symptoms that a lot of people get with those kinds of food allergies. So, when I talk about eating healthy, what do I mean? So, I mainly mean having a balanced macronutrient intake. So, that's your proteins, your carbs, and your fats, cutting out processed foods, limiting or eliminating refined sugar, drinking half your body weight in ounces in water, avoiding foods or ingredients that you're allergic or sensitive to, like I just mentioned, and adding in additional supplements as needed. And those supplements really are an as needed, because if you're eating a well balanced diet for your macronutrients, and then let's add in those micronutrients as well, I should include that. And those micronutrients are your vitamins and your minerals. If you have an overall well balanced diet, you shouldn't need additional supplementation unless you have a diagnosis where your body has trouble absorbing those things, or maybe you take a medication that alters how your body absorbs that type of vitamin or mineral. And then you might need supplements for that. So, balanced nutrient intake, I do highly recommend somebody who needs to figure out what that means for them, that they talk to a registered dietitian. Typically, it's 30% protein, 30% fats, and 40% carbohydrates. And in general, I recommend just focusing on higher protein than you think you need and higher good fats than you think you need. So a personal trainer told us years ago, and I didn't really believe it, but since becoming a personal trainer myself, I have come to understand more. One of the biggest recommendations for protein intake is whatever weight you want to weigh in pounds, that's how many grams of protein you need to be eating. So if I want to weigh 130 pounds, I need to aim for 130 grams of protein. And that's not in an exact one-to-one, but it's close enough because it's 0.8 grams of protein for 1 pound of body weight. So if I want to weigh 130 pounds, I should aim to eat 130 grams of protein. It's a lot of protein. It's a lot of protein. And so I actually supplement with protein powder, and I make a smoothie in the morning. I don't really like breakfast. I don't like breakfast foods. Eggs, for the most part, gross me out. Don't really like bacon. Pancakes and French toast and waffles are yummy. But I know I'll have a sugar crash when I eat just those for breakfast. So I actually stick with a protein smoothie first thing in the morning, and I add collagen powder to that. So I get 30 grams of protein in my smoothie in the morning, and I need to aim for about 25 grams of protein at every meal that I eat, including snacks. So I might one day have a higher protein dinner or breakfast when I know the rest of the day is going to be a little off. And so, so that's one thing. And for pretty much everybody, I highly recommend limiting sugar, especially refined sugar. Or if you have an inflammatory process going on, you have chronic inflammation, you have chronic pain that's been going on for longer than a couple of weeks, limiting and eliminating that refined sugar for about a month to 2 months. So let's just split the difference and call it 6 weeks. It will be a game changer because sugar turns into fatty acids in your body, and fatty acids start an inflammatory process in your body. So limiting or eliminating those refined sugars is really, really important for pretty much everybody. And then also cutting out processed foods. Processed foods are modified, they are processed, they are created sometimes in a lab, and they are just modified enough that when they go through the process to package it up so that it's shelf stable, they actually take out a lot of the nutrients, and then that's why they have to put it back in and make a fortified meal for you. They fortify it with those nutrients that they've stripped out of it. And so with that whole process, it's not the natural vitamin and mineral that you're getting, and so your body actually doesn't process it quite exactly the same. It's very similar, but it's different enough that if you have long-standing problems, it can create or contribute to those problems as well. And then the processed foods are really high in sugar and really high in salt. And debate is out. There's newer research coming out that some people actually, it's not salt that they need to limit, it's really the sugar. So I'm not going to say limit your salt because I don't know all of the ins and outs of that yet. But that just know that it seems that it's more of the sugar. Sorry, guys, I'm holding on to my lipstick here. It's more of the sugar that is causing problems because that sugar, like I said, it's broken down by the liver and turned into fatty acids, and fatty acids in your body start up that inflammatory reaction. So if you're dealing with chronic inflammation, chronic pain, and you're eating sugar, it's going to contribute to the pain and problem. And water intake is huge. It's huge. Get your water bottles, fill them up, drink so much water that you feel like you have no time but to go to the bathroom all day. Your body will adjust and it will get used to it after about 2 to 3 weeks of doing that. And if you come at me and tell me that you can't increase your intake because you have urinary incontinence, because you have stressful bladder, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that if you have a dry bladder because you're not lubricating it enough with water to fill it, that actually irritates your bladder more. If you want to learn more about that, I highly recommend looking up pelvic floor physical therapy, bladder urgency, urinary urgency, about the tips and tricks to help that. And one of the top tips or tricks is to drink more water to control your urinary urges. That's something that I tend to not cover too much here because I deal with uh, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, things like that. But it is a thing. So if you want more information about that, look up pelvic physical therapy tips and tricks for urinary urgency. And yep, I already mentioned the avoiding foods and ingredients that you're allergic to. So those are my recommendations on how to know if you're eating healthy. Think about what your main goal is. And in general, most people need to limit or eliminate the sugars, the refined sugars, and cut out processed foods. Make more of your foods at home. That's not prepackaged meals. Balanced macronutrient intake. Include those micronutrients in there. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water. And add in supplements as needed based on a registered dietitian's recommendations for your needs. If you don't need them, adding them in through pills, you're just going to pee them out. So it might not be doing you any good. And you might just be spending money to have really expensive pee. So anyway, that is my tips and tricks on how to eat healthier, how to know if you're eating healthy. If you want more information, go ahead and send me a message and I'll talk to you guys soon.